everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. And we are so happy to have you here to talk about everything that is going on in the NFL. Today has obviously been a crazy day. We had Blackout Monday yesterday, which was filled with fires. And we're going to talk about it all before we lead into the Wildcard weekend and what we think these matchups are all going to look like. So I'm happy to have on Joe, of course, and we've got Jeff and Thomas joining us. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. I'm on the IR, but I'm playing through it.
Man, you and the rest of the league.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thomas, how are you?
Jesus. Oh man, it feels great. Happy New Year, y'all, by the way. I feel like this is the first show of the new year. I just is it?
It is, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
So yeah, Happy New Year. It feels great to be back and it's always fun to do this. So yeah, it feels great.
All right. Should we talk about the most recent firing or the first firing or the earliest? I mean, we have so many to choose from.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We'll just start with the first. I think that was a double whammy, GM and head coach firing. And I just want to understand, I mean, a lot of guys, we've what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 head coaches, right?
Yeah, 6.
Okay.
6 job.
Well, 2 would happen early in the season.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
For Monday and Tuesday, we'll count 6. All right. So let's start with Jeff. What were your thoughts here with this Atlanta firing? Was it expected? You expect it?
I think we could all harken back to draft day when Michael Penix was selected. The uncomfortable looking conversation that the owner was having with the GM about him taking a quarterback at 8 when you just paid $100 million to another guy. That better work out, I think, was how that went. Well, you've 2 years of it not really working out. And it's not saying that Michael Penix hasn't played well, but the fact of the matter is the team hasn't progressed enough. 8 and 9 the past 2 seasons, missing the playoffs both times, just not enough to want to keep that thing going. Arthur Blank is not only restructuring how that locker room is going to be, but the organization itself. He's getting older. He's giving up power to other people. He's going to let a whole new set of voices run this organization going forward. So it was up to him to replace everybody. So that means the GM had to go. Raheem Morris had to go. There'll be going to be a lot of players going once these new voices in the room come in. So it's going to be a clean slate in Atlanta by the time the season starts for that organization. So it's unfortunate to see Raheem Morris go. They weren't a dreadful team, but he thought that maybe those that running games at the end would have saved his job, but no, not enough. Not with everything they put on the table. Like I said, you have $100 million backup guaranteed on that team. That is something unheard of. So once you made that move to Penix, it had to show some real results for them to really want to stick with it. They weren't going to do it another year.
I mean, at any point in time, were we looking at the Falcons mid-season thinking like this was going to be their year to turn things around? I think we saw Michael Penix looking better, but of course, not that the injury was an assumption, but just seeing that he was flowing with the offense, it looked like things were getting better. I don't know if we expected Atlanta to make it to this wild card weekend. That's just my assumption. But I want to hear from Thomas. What are you guys thinking? What are your thoughts?
This was about as predictable as it can get. I saw it from like a mile away. Not sound like I'm LeBron or anything, but anytime you decide to go into free agency and pay a guy $100 million guaranteed, and then just not even 2 months later, you draft a guy 8 overall to also play the quarterback position, there's an issue. And it just immediately hit me like a bolt of lightning. I remember one of the first press conferences of Raheem Morris's tenure as the head coach, and he says, I got all this extra staff because we're going to do a lot of winning, and I got to make sure I have backups ready so that way I know that I still keep the regime going here because we're going to produce a lot of winning here in Atlanta. Not really what happened. Actually, it was the direct opposite. And what makes matters worse, right, is it's one thing because we see this all the time in the NFL. We see guys whiff on a guy they paid hundreds of $millions to, and it doesn't work out. It happens. But usually, whoever comes in behind them, or usually it's another draft pick, whatever case may be, they step in and they're able to actually produce. So it's like, you know what? Hey, I know it sucks that we whiffed on that. May have to eat on the dead cap or whatever, but we got some promise here. And the problem is, the promise that they thought they had was Penix, who, by the way, went into the NFL with a bunch of nagging injuries, predominantly around his knees. And then on top of that, we just finished a season where he had another torn ACL. So this would be one thing if it's like, you know, we're going to have to wait and see. There's some promise here and there. But he's injury prone heading into the NFL. And now he's injured again with another major injury. And on top of that, you have $100 million backup just sitting there, and no one's going to take him. Like, this is absurd. And what makes it worse is that you're doing this in a division where someone just went into the playoffs with a record of 8-9. So this idea of like, oh, we just didn't have a chance. There were plenty of teams above us who were just going to punch up the entire time. No. Like, if you actually had a competent run where you actually knew what you were doing with all the moves that were made, you would have been fine. But here we are. And now both of you are gone, which, in my opinion, that's kind of how it's supposed to be. If both of y'all going to collab and make a decision, y'all both should take the heat for it. And that's what happened in Atlanta.
Yeah, true that. I think we all saw this happening and evolving. What about you, Joe? You can wrap it up.
Yeah, I just think the Falcons got to figure out what direction they want to go into. I mean, we're talking about before the show, a lot of talent down there. Bijan Robinson, one of the better running backs. Drake London. You had Kyle Pitts find himself like he was playing against Mississippi State the whole season. If I'm a head coach candidate, the Atlanta job is an attractive one to me. But what makes me take pause is, like Jeff talked about, there's going to be so many new voices. Who are those people? Can you collaborate with them? Will the partnership be the way it needs to be? I don't think the cupboard's bare in Atlanta. They talk about not having a pass rush. They had a double-digit sack guy this season. Might have had two, if I remember correctly. But the defense was much improved towards the latter half of the season. So I think out of all these jobs that are available, one of the more attractive positions available is Atlanta. And I mean, you got to figure out the quarterback position. I think I'm with Thomas. I don't trust Michael Penix to play a full season. You're paying Kirk Cousins all this money. I guess we roll with Kirk. And I'm not going to get another. I got to get another backup too, because you don't know what the process is for rehab for Michael Penix. So I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins. You're paying him good money. Let's have him earn it.
Yeah, we've seen everybody need a backup at this point. Literally, like every single team was needing a backup of somebody, and we got guys who didn't even have had their first start. All right, I feel like we're gonna roll into the next one because I've been waiting to talk about this, and it's gonna be Pete Carroll. If you watch any of Moving the Chains, you know that me and the Raiders have a broken-hearted relationship, and I just wanted to say I don't think Pete Carroll was the problem in this entire franchise. I made an entire video on it on my TikTok. Top to bottom, this Raiders team is like chaos, okay? And poor Pete Carroll and Geno Smith just had to come in and try to be the saviors because they knew each other from back in the day, and Geno got the chance in Seattle. And Pete Carroll was the one that gave him this opportunity. Seattle and the Raiders are two completely different teams, two completely different offensive lines, defenses, wide receiver. I mean, like, the entire team is so different that there was no way you were expecting to be a contender in the AFC West at most, right? Like, after we saw what was happening with Bo Nix at the end of last year, like, if anything, you were looking to try to beat that team, and that just was not going to be the case. So that's my 2 cents on Pete Carroll. And I feel like everybody here can agree the Raiders need way more help than just a new quarterback.
Hell yeah.
And that's just the facts of the facts. So I'll go with Thomas first. How did you feel about Pete Carroll getting fired?
you ever like watch like somebody old do something and it's like you shouldn't be doing that? I felt like as I was watching Pete Carroll throughout this season, I felt like the moment he put pen to paper, it was like, I don't feel like you should be doing that. And throughout the entire year, it was like, okay, is he going to get fired in week 6, week 7, week 10, week 11? I mean, I do want to give the Raiders credit. They were gracious enough to let him finish the season because I could have sworn I thought he was done like a long time ago. I made a joke at the beginning of the season that they were the Las Vegas Seahawks because you had Pete Carroll, you had Geno Smith, and then they thought it was a great idea to have an offensive coordinator that they wanted to pay $6 million to do absolutely nothing. The roster was the roster. I don't think anybody sat up there and was like, this is a playoff team or anything like that. But
Hell no.
there was some spots here and there that was like, you know what? We got some Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, 6 overall. You know, he's going to change the running game, veteran quarterback. We might mess around and steal some games. Show some promise heading into the following season. No one saw playoffs. But then you watch them play. The defense, which is Pete Carroll's like specialty, was completely like incoherent. They were a bunch of matadors, just allowing people to get to the end zone every single time. And it was like you can't sit up there and just tolerate that every single week. In the offense, well, when you have a guy that's throwing 15 touchdowns and 17 picks or whatever his stat line was, yeah, that wasn't going to work either. So I don't want to sound like a broken record, but the Pete Carroll thing, the moment he signed to be the head coach, I automatically knew this was not going to work. And it didn't work. So I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm just shocked that he lasted as long as he did. Because I thought that was like week 6, week 7, written all over.
Jeff.
Well, I'm going to say that it was interesting to me because, I didn't expect him to be one and done. I thought he would at least get 2 bites of the apple. But once again, we talk about changes. We know Mark Davis announced today that he's stepping back. He's not going to be making as much decisions with the organization. Tom Brady and the GM are going to be heading off football decisions. So,
that don't make sense to me either, but
But he's a minority owner, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to give more control. I think that's one reason why he brought him in was because Tom wanted that. So that's going to be more the narrative, right? Another team is kind of changing up how they do things. Well, how they're doing things is they're going with a younger, more forward-thinking head coach. And with that being said, they made the change. Like I said, 1 year wasn't going to be enough, not with this team. Not with all the changes you need to make. The offensive line is atrocious. The defense needs to be totally revamped. Other than your one main pass rusher, there's still a lot of holes on that defense. Your receiving core still doesn't have a dynamic receiving threat, right? So you look at it, and then you look at the quarterback situation. You're on a loaner deal with Geno Smith. So there's a lot to that team that has to be fixed, and it was going to take more than 1 year. And I don't think Pete Carroll was the problem. I think it was a culture divide in that locker room at the end of the season where guys weren't bought into it, didn't buy in during the season. By the end of the season, they were totally bought out. And I think one of those guys being your top pass rusher, Matt Crosby, wasn't happy with anything going on in that organization. So those are usually the kiss of death for you, but I didn't think it wasn't as fixable as they think, but the way I look at it, I think they wanted a more forward-thinking coach, a younger coach who's going to be able to go through this transition with them and to go in a different direction other than trying to do things the way you've done in the past. So I think in definitely isolating your best player wasn't going to one of those things that are going to help Pete Carroll out. So that's probably where they're going with this. It'll be interesting to see when they finish the interview process who they name as a head coach. Him hiring Chip Kelly didn't help. Chip Kelly in the NFL is not Chip Kelly in college. I think people really saw that somehow, some way, though, Pete Carroll believed in him. The offense was listless. Yes, he could tight ends the ball, but it wasn't consistent. That offensive line could not block for Shanti, who averaged more yards after contact than he did overall. So that tells you something bad about that offense. The defense already knew it was dreadful. And like I said, just looking at that locker room, there's a lot of work to do, and having a darn near 80-year-old coach leading it probably wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, and now as of today, Max Crosby is like out. I just feel like the entire franchise is like, it's like on fire in Mark Davis's hands. It's like ash just dripping through. Like he can't save anything, and I feel like it's taken way too long. So it makes sense why they're even in this position. I'll let you wrap up, Joe.
I mean, I keep it short and sweet. If not for the New York Jets, I would call the Raiders the worst organization in football. I mean, no clear plan. Maybe 2 or 3 guys in their roster that you can say they got a bright future. Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Max Crosby. I would not be surprised if he's gone by next season because they've burned him for the last time. Just a complete mess. I mean, I think that if Tom Brady is as good as an executive as he was a player, the turnaround could be fast, but they need so much. It's like a 3-4 year project. I mean, I think if you're going for a head coach, I'd bring the New England Patriots band back together, bring in Brian Flores, Raider attitude. That defense will be improved. But again, like I said, even if they fix the defense, so many holes, so many problems. I mean, just to when I think of chaos and dysfunction, I think Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, it's ugly. You leave Oakland, everybody's depressed. You bring this team to Vegas, it's not really good. It's just, you got the first overall pick now. You don't have a head coach. Like, it's just too much chaos. I feel like that's like an entire documentary that will be released one day. All right, next up, I think we all expected the Browns to make this move with Kevin Stefanski. I'm sure that fans were calling for this. People were calling for this just based off of the QB drama that unfolded with Shador and Dylan Gabriel. You have so many players in the QB position. Why? Deshaun gets the first ever fully guaranteed contract, and you're like, why? You know, just so many whys were tied to Kevin Stefanski. And Thomas and Jeff were talking about it before. So I'll let you guys just follow up on like what you were mentioning, and I'll start with Thomas.
Okay. I heard a theory. I don't have a tinfoil hat on. Actually, it's a Nike hat on. I love my checks. So this is just what I've heard today, and it actually made a lot of sense. Right? Because we all saw Kevin Stefanski gone. My sighting of me knowing that he was gone was just answer this question. Name me a single game in NFL history where they messed up the starting quarterback's play wristband going into the game. That's never happened. Especially with Stefanski being the offensive coordinator / head coach. That's something I've never heard of. The moment that he did that with Shador, I knew that he was done. That was it. Okay. So there was no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Obviously, you could talk about Dylan Gabriel. You could talk about the 5,000 quarterbacks they had to start the season and how they were trying to, scheme up a way to make sure they had a strategy to make sure that they had a plan in place. All that other nonsense. Okay. Let me get to the theory real quick. I was confused as to why it's just Stefanski that's gone and not Andrew Berry that's gone with him. Because last time I checked, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski thought it was a great idea to do the draft they did this year. They thought it was a good idea to also pay the nasty man $230 million guaranteed to rupture his Achilles twice in 2 months. That was something that the organization decided was a great idea to do. But Andrew Berry, he gets to stay. Kevin Stefanski is gone. And the theory is that in the history of the NFL, I don't think GMs get a second shot. Once they're done as GM, they usually don't get another shot again. As a head coach, if you get fired at one place, you could, miss a couple cycles or whatever the case may be. You show back up and you become a promising name and you end up getting another chance. But for whatever reason, GMs do not get that leash. And so what GMs have a tendency to do is, in same way I feel about New York, they will sit up there and say, you know what? Look, I know I had a part to play in it, but I'm hands off. You got to go. I don't have nothing to do with this. Why? Because I'm going to hold on to this job until the day I die. My life depends on it. Even with all the millions of dollars I'm making having this position, I have to hold on to it because I'm not getting another shot. And when I thought about that, I thought about Cleveland, and I was like, you know what? It sucks. Both of them should be gone, but that's just the way to land, and that's how the NFL works. And I had to find that out for myself today. So there's that.
All right, Joe.
I mean, I think that what Thomas says pretty spot on. Cleveland a little bit dysfunctional as well. I thought that you should have brought both the duo should have left. GM should have been terminated and the coach, excuse me. But I think now, if you're the Cleveland Browns, you got a really good defense. You got to figure out the quarterback position. You can't have Jerry Jeudy as your number one wide receiver. You have to find a real number one wide receiver. The cupboard's not entirely bare in Cleveland, but it all starts with a competent head coach, and it also starts drafting a really good quarterback. And Kevin Stefanski, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a job here soon. And remember, for all its faults, two-time NFL Coach of the Year, took that team to the playoffs, a good offensive mind, but doesn't adapt. We were talking about that before the show started, and Jeff was talking about how Kevin Stefanski has his system, and if you don't fit that system, shame on you. He's not adjusting at all. So if he wants another job or gets another opportunity, that way of thinking is going to have to change. But I don't think the Cleveland Brown job is a horrible job. I don't think it's the best one out there, but I think it's in the middle of the road.
All right, Jeff, round us out.
Well, first I gotta commend you, Joe, for the evil Kermit look, brother. That works. But definitely, listen. I'm shocked this move wasn't made weeks ago, but I gave him the grace to end the season. You mentioned exactly what I was saying before, Joe. When you're a coach and you have your scheme and guys that you think fit your scheme, you're not going to go with the guy or have a lot of patience with the guy who doesn't do the things you don't like, right? So we talk about when they got to the point of the season where it became about these young quarterbacks, these two rookie quarterbacks, Gabriel and Sanders. Gabriel is his guy. He throws on schedule. He throws quick to get rid of the football. He doesn't hold on to the football and try and make too many plays, while Shedeur does all it. But that's what makes Shedeur special. When you have a special player with that special skill, you're going to have to live with the positive and negative. And he was never going to do that until he was forced to. So it wasn't until the point where Gabriel got hurt and he couldn't bring somebody else off the street to jump in front of him in the line. He had to play Shedeur. Shedeur produced. He had no choice but to stick with him for the rest of the season. And as a result of that, it showed that, guess what? He was actually ready the whole time. You should have played him from before. So it made him look even more culpable. So you had to make this move. You could not let Stefanski come back next year, or with a potential Watson coming back next year. You have Shedeur there. You have Gabriel there. And to have that whole competition play out again in training camp, you could not have Stefanski making these decisions with these guys. You had to have a fresh face come in the room. You have to have fresh decisions going on here. What's going to be the best path for this team going forward? Is it going to be one of these young guys? Is it going to be bringing another rookie quarterback in here? I keep people talking about they're going to be on the QB watch list because none of these guys are. Well, how are we giving Kevin Stefanski the other gigs? So if you've watched some of the shows that you've seen out there, Kevin Stefanski would be a great fit for this organization. So he could do the same thing all over again. He's already proven he's not changing. So if you get that same situation with another organization and he's your head coach, guess what? Expect the same result because that doesn't change. We've seen that with other coaches that are very similar. So when you're a football coach, very few of us are hired to evaluate talent. We're there to coach talent. And if you're not going to coach the guys you have, you're not a very good football coach, no matter how good your scheme is. And that's the one hurdle for Kevin Stefanski. Until he realizes that you got to coach the guys that you have on your team to the best of your ability and not sit there and say, well, he doesn't do what I want him to do. Well, guess what? You're going to be that guy who's always bouncing after a couple of years at a head coaching job till you stop getting them. Because
Amen.
plain and simple, you have to get the best of your talent. You are not going to be an evaluator 90% of the time. You're going to be tasked to coach whatever you have. Right? You got to win with what you got. Right? And he doesn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that until he was forced to with Shedeur. When everybody was clearly seeing it, even the fans are telling you, this is not our guy, Shedeur's our guy. And when he went out there and started producing late in the season, you had no choice but to admit that you were wrong.
Yeah, and I think that was the problem here is admitting when you're wrong. I think that's definitely the tagline of Kevin Stefanski's tenure with the Cleveland Browns.
Ego.
Accountability?
Oh my
No
God!
way.
I'm sorry.
No. What?
I did.
No. That can't be a word in the dictionary. It's not possible.
Listen, ego is one of the biggest career killers in the NFL.
Yes.
Sure is.
When you're looking at
Yes.
Stefanski's future, does it look bright to you guys? Yes or no? Is it a dim
No,
light?
not
I'll say it
me,
that
but
way.
there's people that think a lot higher of him than I do. I think he's a very intelligent football coach. I don't say that he isn't. People go, oh, there's a thing about certain coaches who want to coach guys that do what they like. You've got to look when you have a special player. It may not be the things that you like in him, but guess what? He is special. He has a special talent that's going to serve you as far as winning games. Sometimes you got to adapt to him. You can't always have them adapting to you.
Snap, snap, snap. Okay, somehow I don't know why I left Jonathan Gannon to the end of the conversation because the Arizona Cardinals, I don't think need a huge breakdown. I mean, Jacoby Brissett saves your season. You have some of the best offensive weapons that exist, and you still can't figure it out. Kyler Murray's potentially not going to be in the NFL. That's the rumor that I'm hearing, right? There's I don't know. So I'm going to leave us on the roundtable version for us to talk it out. So Thomas, you go first.
Oh, okay. Just not given bias because he used to be on the staff of my Eagles.
Oh God.
But to be fair, he signed up for this job with the fact that he actually had a quarterback to match up with, to where he can just get an offensive coordinator, he can handle his defense, his side of the ball, and we can go from there. And at the time, for him, that was probably okay, cool. I get Kyler Murray, who's arguably one of the best athletes at his height. Ironically, no one else is at his height until Bryce Young showed up, so that's cool. And look, I got this athletic quarterback. He can do his thing. Get an offensive coordinator in there. We can figure that out, and I'll handle my side of the ball on defense, and we'll go from there. Come to find out, Kyler Murray, he is at the hospital nearly every single season on Call of Duty somewhere. The offensive line is just a bunch of turnstiles. So whoever's back there, I mean, you mentioned it yourself, Ashmere, Jacoby Brissett was doing his thing, but that offensive line is the offensive line. Then you got the defense, who actually, Sweat was doing his thing.
Baker.
There were some pieces there on defense. They just could not piece it together. And look, truth of the matter is, Gannon, look, I got nothing. Look, you thought it was going to work out with Kyler. I don't blame you at the time frame that you tried to do it. It didn't work out. And here you are trying to make things work with Jacoby Brissett, who is about the same age as my dad, I'm pretty sure. And you try to having him at quarterback and making that work. So I don't know what else. It's one of those things where Gannon's I don't know what you want me to do. What you want me to do?
I thought it worked much better than Kyler. You're sitting your starting QB mid-season, and Jacoby's out here. He's throwing crazy. He's like his own version of Jameis Winston. You know what I mean? Things are flying, and they're flying in the right direction or the wrong direction, but they're flying. So I'm giving Jacoby a little bit of credit here because he was probably the most positive piece of their season, except for Bijan's monster, right?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just you were going into the season every single year with Kyler Murray. That's who you signed up for. You was not taking a job. if there wasn't Kyler Murray at quarterback. And then when you don't see him on the field and you're having to make it work with Jacoby Brissett, no disrespect to Jacoby Brissett, he did his thing, but at the end of the day, that's not what you signed up for. You signed up for Kyler. Kyler doesn't show up. He gets hurt. And now you're just like, what? So I get axed for that? Now, as far as his defense is concerned, I got nothing. There were some highs. There were some major lows. There was no in between. So his side of the ball was not great either. But that's kind of the rut that he was stuck in. Fair or not.
All right. Unless anyone feels deeply to talk about it, we're going to move on to, I think, the biggest one of the day. But go ahead, Jeff. I don't want to.
I'll jump in for 2 minutes on this. And listen, I was told when you were looking for coaching jobs, not every opportunity is the right opportunity for you. Jonathan Gannon should have realized that when he went there with a quarterback that was drafted for the previous head coach. Okay, Kyler Murray was drafted specifically for Cliff Kingsbury. Once they moved on from Kingsbury, they should have moved on from Kyler Murray. Trying to bring in coaches to fit Kyler Murray wasn't going to work. It was a specific draft pick for a specific head coach who was no longer there. If I'm Gannon, I'm not taking that job. He had other opportunities. He should have looked at those harder because that was a situation that you were set up to fail. Either Kyler Murray was going to go wild and save your job, or exactly what was happened is exactly what was going to happen. So I was going to err on the side of caution that, you know what, this dude wasn't brought here for me. I'm being brought into a situation where I'm getting somebody's leftovers. Maybe this ain't my situation. I should find the best one where I have a little more success with guys that are going to come in and help me win football games.
That's fair.
I think that was a good closing piece to that. And of course, the shocking, non-shocking, longest tenured head coach with John Harbaugh parts ways with the Ravens. So I'm going to start with your expectations. Were you expecting this to happen with Baltimore, yes or no?
No. And the reason why is they've had a kind of cohesive relationship. They've been able to work through a lot of different things, make a lot of changes. From what I'm hearing, the breaking point was offensive coordinator Todd Monken. They wanted him to let Monken go. He wouldn't. So I believe that's what I heard is the breaking point in that relationship. And honestly, there had to be some major changes. The offense, Monken was brought in to open up the offense, and he kind of did it compared to the former coordinators, but it was still very run heavy, still very anemic when it came to passing the football. And a lot of people are going to put that on Lamar. Lamar's expanded his ability to read the field as a quarterback. So it's not all Lamar, but it still comes back to a couple of things for this team. One, you still don't have an elite number one receiver. You have a very good slot / number two in Flowers. Okay, your tight ends are still your most consistent receivers, although your main one has gotten older. Isaiah Likely's become the bigger playmaker of the two. So there's time to move on from Mark Andrews. They haven't done that yet. All right, you brought in Derrick Henry, and at times during games, you have success with him, and then you stop running him. So there are so many things wrong with the Ravens, right, that they have to fix. And right now, it looks like they're going to have to go a whole new clean slate look because they couldn't agree on the future of this offense, right? The ownership wanted a different coordinator. Head coach said, I want to keep him. I trust him. And now you're parting ways. So it's going to be a real interesting situation what goes on in Baltimore. That is an organization that has a specific blueprint for how they do things. It's going to be real interesting to see who they bring in.
All right, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I was not surprised. I thought that there's been so many times over the last couple of years that Baltimore Ravens have been the bridesmaid, but never the bride. Fighting for your playoff lives, then you lose that game in a missed kick. I felt like after 18 seasons, his voice just kind of gets tone deaf on some of those players. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's probably split down the middle. If you ask those players, there's still guys that will run through a brick wall for John Harbaugh, but there's also people who are like, I'm tired of that, dude. Just the motivational speeches, I'm over it. So I think a new voice is great, but with caution because expectations are so high for Baltimore, you can't bring in some young, unexperienced person. I mean, it's Super Bowl or bust, or at least AFC Championship game, and you don't want it to become a revolving door of head coaches. So they got to be really, really careful with who they bring in. I definitely think it can't be a first-time coach. It's got to be somebody with some veteran experience. And it's not going to be very long until we see John Harbaugh has the job somewhere else. He's still a great football coach. But I wasn't surprised at all. I think Baltimore needed a new voice, try to switch things up and capitalize on this window because the window's not closed.
Yeah, I guarantee you Arizona and Tennessee and a few other teams just turned the ground and went, whoa, we're happy that happened.
Right.
Arizona, for sure. I think that's a great prediction. I thought it was going to happen. After the kick didn't go through on Sunday Night Football, I thought there was so much drama circulating this week with Lamar, with the media, with the way that the chemistry in the locker room, like it felt like the pieces were slowly falling apart. Like Lamar's injured, we obviously know he is the main piece to this team. And then you slowly see the cracks unfold at that point. Like, why are they asking questions about him being lazy? There's just like, all of a sudden Lamar was in this really strange spotlight. And I feel like, of course, you're always going to go back to the number one guy, and that's kind of your head coach, which I know they have a great relationship. So I'm just speaking on a fake speculation. But I just think because of all the things that led up to that game and then you lose, it just didn't give John Harbaugh any backbone. It really was just like, okay, it's ugly in there right now. Like, we don't understand. I think I'm just a Lamar fan. So I'm really speaking as somebody that heard so much scrutiny toward a player that has literally been carrying this team for so long. Like, sure, he gets Derrick Henry too. We saw in the beginning of the season what Derrick Henry did. He fumbled 3 games in a row, right? Like, no one's perfect, but we did always see Lamar play his best football, which is why he's a 2-time MVP, right? Like, it just all makes sense there. So I kind of expected this to happen. Okay, Thomas.
There was just a large part of me that was like, whoever loses this game on Sunday Night Football is bound to lose their job. Now, I didn't foresee somebody missing I don't want to say it was a layup. But it was in his range, to be fair, for him to miss right. I did not foresee that dictating whether or not John Harbaugh was still going to be the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. My thing with Harbaugh and the Ravens is that, like Joe said, and we talked about this before the show started, this is not a head coaching job where it's like getting to the playoffs is the measuring stick. Like, I want to let everybody in on a little secret. Hey, Lamar is closer to 30 than he is to 20. So what does that mean? That means whatever Super Bowl window that you claim that you have, you do not have a whole lot more years to strike it. Which now means, okay, there's a ton of pressure. And don't even get me started on the roster, because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a lot of moving chairs in that roster that's not going to be the same as this season. I can guarantee you that. So you have that. Then, and I'm not saying Lamar is a coach killer or anything like that. I mean, hey, he's been with the same head coach since he's played in the NFL. So I'm not saying that. But would it be insane to imagine a world where they lose 2 or 3 straight, 4 straight, and Lamar's like, I know I had input on bringing this guy in, but this guy is not doing it for me. So he's got to go. Like, what is the chance of something like that happening? The good thing that the organization had with Harbaugh was that, look, this guy has been doing it for a long time. He knows how to win. He's won a Super Bowl. It's not like he doesn't know what it's like to be in these uncomfortable situations. So we trust him. But if you're Lamar, if you're the organization, like, does the organization give whoever comes in a big leash? I don't know, because they're looking to win. They're looking to win now. And I remind everybody too, this year, say what you want about the New Englands of the world and Denvers of the world, and you know how everybody was talking high about the Colts before they starting a quarterback with 2 broken legs and all this other stuff. Like, those teams are in the playoffs with Josh Allen, who has been the main guy outside of Mahomes, standing in your way, and you missed the playoffs entirely.
Yep.
And my thing is with the Ravens is that I hope they figure out what that answer is. I don't know what that answer is, but whatever it is, I hope that they know what they're getting into, because I hope the organization knows the kind of leash that they're giving the new head coach. And I hope the head coach knows that what he's signing up for is, look, you better make Lamar Jackson and that offense look good or else. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So as long as those two things are concrete and understood, then I guess the Baltimore Ravens all the fans will rejoice and everything else between. But I just don't see what that answer is, because there's too much pressure in that organization to find a concrete answer. This is not a rebuilding team. You're looking to win, and you're looking to win now.
Okay.
So no pressure, but pressure. Like what?
Snap, Thomas, you're right on the money. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, everybody, and then we're going to do our MVP talk and our wildcard weekend predictions.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM.
In 2006, we founded Yeti Coolers with a simple mission: build the cooler we use every day if it existed. One that was built for the serious outdoor enthusiasts rather than for mass discount retailers. One that could take the abuse we knew we'd put it through, out in the field and on the water. One that simply wouldn't break. We decided early on that production innovation would come from necessity and first-hand experience, not from market research and data analysis. Today, Yeti products perform when it matters most. Whether that be an excursion into the remote Alaskan wilderness, chasing redfish on the Gold Coast, or just getting together with friends in the backyard, we make gear that helps you stay out longer, travel farther, and live harder. # built for the wild.
Okay, y'all, we're back. That was a long chat about head coaches, I know, but they really make a difference. And we saw 5 guys get fired, so we had to do what we had to do. Next up, we're going to talk about our MVP choices. And I'm going to make this a rapid fire. So you get 2 minutes to make your pick. All right? We're going to kick it off with Jeff. Take it, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to go with the 2 young guys, all right? And it's funny that they're both in the AFC. Bo Nix and, of course, quarterback from New England, whose name I just forgot during the break. All right? So right now I'm going to say those are my 2 front runners for this for the MVP on my end, because if those 2 guys get deep into the playoffs, you're talking AFC Championship game. Nobody expected either one of those 2 teams to be, at this point, the top 2 seeds in the playoffs. So it's going to revolve around what those 2 guys have done all year long. Drake May is who I'm talking about. So either Drake May or Bo Nix, whichever one goes deeper in the playoffs, to me, is going to be the one against Detroit. They're going to give it to those 2 guys. I know we're talking about Josh Allen. He's been an MVP. They haven't had an MVP kind of year, but definitely. It's going to be one of those 2 young guys. If they get deep into the playoffs, guarantee you it's going to be one of those 2 young guys.
Okay, you did that in 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I see you, Jeff. Thomas,
Thomas,
who's leading your MVP? Okay, 2 minutes now.
Yeah, here we go. So I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention a dark horse. I know he's not a sexy name, but I think it's cool to mention Sam Darnold in the job that he's done with Seattle this year. You lead your team to number 1 in the conference. You have the kind of year that he had where he's won big games throughout the season. I think that has a part to play in it. Obviously, Stafford was just remarkable. So there's that, even with all the conversation he was having about, his back issues and stuff to start OTAs and things like that. But I do think, in my humble opinion, it's going to have to go to that guy in New England with the nickname that has his own name in it, which I think is kind of crazy. Just for the simple fact that New England just this time last year, we're looking for a new head coach, and we're trying to figure out how they could build around Drake May. trying to figure out if he was good enough or anything like that. And they just exceeded expectations left and right. So if I had to pick somebody, it would have to be that guy in New England. Man, I hate saying that because I feel like I've been saying that my entire life.
Train. That's crazy work. All right, Joe, what about you?
For me, it goes to two people. The 49ers, just ravaged by injuries, would have been super easy to fold up shop and say, hey, man, our record is what it is because look at the people we lost. Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. You had Purcell miss a couple games, too, the wide receiver out of Florida. So for me, Christian McCaffrey carried this offense. Oh, yeah, Brock Purdy missed games. George Kittle missed games. The offense started and ended with Christian McCaffrey. They would have had a much, much worse season if it wasn't for him carrying the load, making big plays, whether it's big catches, big runs, blitz pickup. I think that he is a candidate. And then my second guy, it's got to be the old warhorse. What Matthew Stafford's doing at his age, Rams fans terrified at the beginning of the season. Oh, my God, the dreaded back. Joe Montana, the back. He didn't play anymore. He's not going to be the same. I haven't heard his back mentioned at all since the third week of the preseason. All he's done is go up there and put up numbers. Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Kalen Williams. He's using the weapons that he has to make things happen. And he has these Rams still as one of my favorites to go to the Super Bowl. So for me, it's got two guys, Christian McCaffrey or Matthew Stafford.
Okay, the NFC West coming in hot. And you did a great job staying in the 2 minutes. Everybody, I think since I picked the Rams in week 1 of moving the chains to go to the Super Bowl, when Joe and I were talking about what are our hot takes, I have to stick to Matthew Stafford as my MVP candidate. It would feel truly illegal for me to say, hey, you're going to go to the Super Bowl, but you're not the MVP. So for that reason and that reason only, I'm picking Matthew Stafford. I feel like he's kind of teetering on getting away from that. Drake May's just stable performance throughout the season has really been why the two of you have agreed that he could be the MVP candidate. But I really think Matthew Stafford this team has been electric, right? He's playing such great football. And even though the NFC West is so stacked, he still has shown prominently why he should be in that MVP race. All right. Now we're in the fun part. We're going to talk about the breakdown for the wildcard weekend. Now, I think honestly every single game has the potential to be boom or bust, right? We could see so many points scored. We could see minimal points scored because there's stellar defenses out there that have put their foot on the gas and really just stopped offenses from lighting things up. So let's start things off with the Rams, since we're just talking about Matthew Stafford, and the Panthers. The Panthers, I said it before, they got bailed out. We all knew the Falcons were going to win that game. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. Bijan,
I don't know that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one.
I was about to say I wasn't sure. Boy,
I was very sure.
They deserved it. Panthers deserved it. I'm not joking. Yes,
that was not a done deal at all.
Wait,
yeah,
I'm talking
no,
about
not at
the
all.
Falcons game.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They were
The same game.
Back to
The
the
same game that had Tyler Shuck in it. That one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This makes I just felt like somehow, some way, Atlanta's gonna figure it out. Like they were just closing this season off in this moment. But when we're looking at the Panthers against Baker and now to face the Rams, who they've beaten before, I want to hear your guys' your likelihood of repeating that for Carolina. We'll start with Jeff.
Yeah, I don't think it's likely. I think that, when you look at this matchup, playoff time, both of these teams are going to be amped up, but one of these teams is playing better than the other. The Rams right now are playing better than Carolina. Carolina, we saw them go out there and get absolutely brutalized in the second half versus the Seahawks. And they played one of the ultra sloppiest games under sloppiest of conditions against the Buccaneers in that loss, when they could have sealed the division right then and there, not had to wait on the Falcons to do their dirty work for them. So this team has been up and down all year, which is evident by their record, right? 8-9 as a division champion. I'm going to go with the team that's played better most of the season. They had some low points. They've got some injuries. We know Davante Adams is coming back for this game. Will he be able to finish all 4 quarters with that hammy? We'll find out. But even with him injured or coming off an injury, I believe the better team is the Rams. They'll pull it out this time. You know, Carolina was able to get up a few times with certain teams. Playoff time is new atmosphere for them. Everybody's up this time around. Nobody wants to go home. Give me the Rams.
All right, I just decided something. So I'm going to assign you guys a team, and you guys can make your case for your team as to why you can win this matchup. I just decided Jeff got a freebie, okay? So Jeff got to speak on one of the easier teams, I think.
Oh my God, yeah, what kind of lob was that?
I was just thinking about it. I was like, I can't have everybody be everybody's fan.
Coach doing us dirty.
So you know what that means? Thomas is definitely not talking about the Eagles when it comes to the Eagles.
Yeah, we don't need to.
I'm not.
You're talking Niners, sorry. We'll save that for later. Who wants to make their case for the Panthers? I'll give you guys an open choice on that one.
I have no case. Happy to be here. Hope they get the cool playoff swag. Haven't had a playoff game there since like George Bush was president. Enjoy it, Carolina fans. Buy a hot dog, get a souvenir T-shirt and hat. This game might be over by halftime.
Yeah. I like that case.
Thanks for coming.
All right. We'll move on to the Niners and the Eagles here. Thomas, you get the Niners.
Yes.
So,
of course I got the Niners.
Of course you did. It feels only true to give you that.
I got the 6-seeded Christian McCaffreys. Of course I do. Look, the truth of the matter is that the 49ers are a pain in they're a thorn in our side for years now. And a lot of that has to do with Christian McCaffrey, even though he's just joined into the fray a couple years ago. But I really think what they've been able to do defensively with all the different names that has been injured and they have put in that lineup has been astounding. And I'm talking about from secondary to the front seven. I don't have any answer for it. It's very easy to say, well, I mean, shoot, with their luck injury-wise, I mean, it's unfortunate to say this, but who knows how long that can go for. And that's fair. But the fact that they've been able to do well defensively, I think is going to pay dividends in terms of stopping the run, which is what they love to do. That's what Robert Saleh loves to do. They love to stop the run. And in terms of the big plays, they love to eliminate those, which they do a very good job of. And I think that alone, on top of whether McCaffrey's doing his thing or not, that'll be the dictating factor on how this game will go for them. Because that defense is rolling, it's humming, it hits hard. Everybody on that team could hit. So that's what I would say about the Christian McCaffreys in the 6th seed.
All right, I'm going to give Joe the Eagles.
The Eagles got to get back to basics. That's Saquon Barkley. Establish the running game, opens up the play action pass. You can get Devontae Smith and you can get A.J. Brown involved. I think it's imperative for the Eagles to get off to a fast start. This can't be one of those games where you're down 10-0 in the second quarter and the offense is kind of sputtering and the defense trying to figure it out. I think it's really, really important for the Eagles to get off to a fast start. And I think if they're able to establish the running game against San Francisco, that can make it a long day for the 49ers. Because, again, like Thomas mentioned, great job getting these guys off the street, take people's places. But now it's playoffs, baby. Pressure bust pipes. Are these guys going to be as mentally focused as they were during the regular season? Could you get a mistake here or there? That's what we have to see. But for the Eagles, run game is the key and getting off to a fast start.
Kyle Shanahan literally said if we beat the Seahawks, we go to the Super Bowl. I feel like I don't know what we watched for the Niner game last week, but if they don't get anyone to throw the ball to, this game is going to go in Thomas's favor. All right, we're going to roll into the Packers and the Bears. I'm going to give Jeff the Bears. Bear down. What are your thoughts on this? They lead the NFC North. I mean, this was a fun Bears team to watch this year.
Choose your words wisely, Jeff.
Well, listen, you want this Bears team to advance? They've got to do something they haven't done the past several weeks. Start fast, okay? Plenty of these past couple of weeks, you watched them. They're sluggish. They're playing from behind. They got to come back fast. This furious fourth quarter comeback to get the game into overtime or get the final score, the game to win. Do the exact opposite. Come out, get a 14-point lead early, control the pace of the game. Let your defense be the hunters and not the hunted. And this way, you can make a longer run in the playoffs. There aren't too many teams that go into playoffs and constantly play from behind and win. That's usually a death sentence for you come playoff time. The Bears have to flip the script in order to be successful this time around.
All right. I think I'm going to take the Packers because when we did one roundtable ranking show many moons ago, I just keep roasting myself on this because it was just too funny. I put the Packers at number 2, and everybody was like, this girl's tripping. Like, what is she talking about? I think the Packers, this is their game to lose, honestly. Josh Jacobs was suffering with some injuries. That was so, that was a main missing piece for that offense, and you could tell. And then Jordan Love, he makes mistakes or he makes big plays. He really figures out how to do either one. And I can bet that he will throw an interception in this game. I am not picking the Packers to win. I think the Packers have ebbed and flowed in too many motions. And although they are playing the Bears for the 3rd time, I think this is the game that the Bears have figured out how to tackle this offense. Literally, the Bears defense has looked really good. And for the Packers, I feel like I'm really bagging on them, but I don't know where I could see this going in their favor in the way that the last couple weeks have unfolded for this offense. It's been hot and cold. They've lacked on the defensive side. And I think if the same thing as Jeff was saying, if they don't start to score early, you can expect the Bears to turn it around. Because in that Niners game, the Bears it was 1-for-1. And I don't predict it to be 1-for-1 in this matchup. All right, next we'll do Houston versus Pittsburgh. And we'll give Thomas Pittsburgh.
Okay, before I get started with that, I've never heard someone say, give this team the best chance to win this game and dog them for 5 minutes straight. I thought that was iconic. That was impeccable.
That's a viral clip. Cut it.
I was like, yeah, this is how we win. You know what? It's not happening.
That was kind of cool.
That was great. That was great. Pittsburgh, look. Thank God for the priest, I guess. Like I can't explain what happened Sunday night. I don't know. Sprinkle the field again. I don't know. But in all seriousness, though, you do get DK Metcalf back, which is encouraging. The defense playing the way they did, can they replicate that again against CJ Stroud and that offense, which can be hit or miss at times? Can you replicate that again? Can Aaron Rodgers just have the 4th quarter of Sunday and just have that be the entire game? That's possible. Maybe not against his defense, but it is possible. I think that's the best chance that they have to win against Houston at home. Is some holy water, DK Metcalf balling out, and shout out to Jalen Warren, who his stat line didn't show it very much. He was running his tail off against Baltimore on Sunday. Expect for him to do his thing in both the passing game and the running game for them to have a chance to win this game.
DK is a huge, I think, piece that was missing and could be used against the Texans. Joe, what are your thoughts on the Texans?
We need to make sure that we all find time to find a quiet place, reflect, and pray for the health and safety of Aaron Rodgers against this Houston Texans defense. With Will Anderson, the rest of these savages coming after a 40-year-old man that can barely get out of bed. This is a big game for the Houston Texans. How many times has this team made the playoffs? Think about the lead in Kansas City, the game against, I think it was the Raiders, where Deshaun Watson kind of earned, before we knew he was a disgusting human being, earned his guaranteed contract. They need to show out and show people that they're a real legit team. CJ Stroud in and out the lineup, concussions, injuries, also inconsistent play. But this defense is elite. I mean, their defense can even get them a touchdown or two themselves. So I think for Pittsburgh, if they don't pass protect, it's going to be a very, very long day for the Steelers. You could even see Aaron Rodgers. I don't wish ill will on anybody. Would not be surprised if one of those hits might be the end of his season. But for Houston, you got to live up to the moment. This is your chance to show people that we're the real deal. We're not just that feel-good story, because nobody takes them seriously. They play in the AFC South. they can shut up a lot of haters with a really good performance this weekend.
I just realized I took what I did it wrong. So you guys have been doing great for this for breaking down the games. I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking when I talked Packers. All right. Yeah, we're gonna watch out for Aaron Rodgers' health in this Texans game. I think this is my favorite matchup of the weekend, if I say so myself, the Bills versus Jacksonville. And I'm going to give Jacksonville to our Florida man, Jeff.
Well,
Yes.
the key for the Jaguars in this matchup is going to be Josh Hines Allen, not Josh Allen, the quarterback. If he can constantly pressure, and his defensive line mates can constantly pressure Josh Allen, big Josh Allen, on Sunday, well, guess what? They will advance into the next round. And the reason being, the teams that can get pressure with 4 on Josh Allen consistently and rattle him while switching up coverages and slowing down James Cook with the rest of their defense are the teams that have gone on to beat Buffalo this season. We saw it with Houston and plenty of others. So I think that is the formula, that front 4 for this team in Jacksonville, right? To go out there and play their best game against their biggest quarterback they're probably going to see throughout the playoffs, okay? So go out there, harass Josh Allen. Do not let him get comfortable in the pocket. Don't let him run for 15 yards a clip. Just constantly harass him, hit him, get him on the ground, or force the ball out of bounds. All those things that Houston did to him, that's what you want to see this Jaguars front do with just 4. So if they have to blitz and do all that stuff, they're going to be in trouble because they're going to have some struggles with certain matchups in that secondary. But if they can get there with 4 and consistently batter Josh Allen with Josh Hines Allen and company, they'll be just fine.
Okay. Joe, how about you for the Buffalo side?
I think for Buffalo, you got to weather the storm. It's been I talked about the Panthers not having a playoff game since Bill Clinton was president. It's been a long time for the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. So you got to ride that wave if you're Buffalo. Don't be overwhelmed by that, silly mistakes or fall behind early. Just play your game. One of the Achilles heels, in my opinion, for the Buffalo Bills all season has been the lack of an outside threat at wide receiver. Can that change for one game? Can they get somebody that can put some pressure on this Jaguars secondary? Because they're going to be feeding off the crowd. Their defense is above average. So I think from the Buffalo Bills, I got to ride that first quarter wave. Okay, they're hyped. They're flying around the field. We got to settle in, play our game, and we'll see at the end who comes out on top. I think this is one of those games going to come down to the last possession. This is my favorite game of the entire weekend, and I do not think this is going to be a blowout.
When you think about it coming down to the last second, we know Jacksonville has one of maybe the best kicker. So all he has to do is get to the 60-yard line and hope that Cam Little can win the game for them, because we saw him do it this Sunday, right? I think that's a factor that we definitely need to consider. All right, last game with everyone's MVP potential candidate, Chargers versus New England. I'm going to give New England to Jeff.
Well, the Fighting Vrabels take on the Fighting Harbaughs. And right now, I'm going to go with the Fighting Vrabels. Listen, this team right now is playing very good football. Their running game is on fire. My favorite running back in this draft class, Travion Henderson, not named Ashton Janty, right, is doing exactly what I want. I know people say, Judkins was the better running back at Ohio State. Nah, this was the lightning in the bottle runner I remember at Ohio State, and he's getting the lion's share of the carries now in New England. He is exactly what you want for that offense. It takes a lot of pressure off of Drake May. This Charger team right now is a little bit up and down. They're having some issues protecting their quarterback at times. Their defense is giving up a lot of big plays, something they didn't do traditionally in the past. Not a very Jim Harbaugh type team that tends to control the clock and play stout defense. So right now, I'm going to go with New England at New England to be the deciding factor in this game. Give me the Patriots over the Chargers.
All right. We'll give the Chargers Harbaugh to Joe, because we know Joe loves his Harbaughs.
This is tough. I don't know about this one. The Chargers have just been so inconsistent coming down the stretch. I know Herbert's played through the hand injury and played some pretty good games. I'm just not sure about this one. I think that this might, just like I talked about Buffalo and Jacksonville, this could be a game where the Chargers get hit by the avalanche. The crowd is hype. Patriots, home playoff game. We're back where we need to be. Is it the start of a new dynasty? You got to handle that. And I don't know if this banged up Chargers defense has it in them to handle that wave of Stephon Diggs, their running back duo that the Patriots have. It's really, really important. The first quarter is going to be the telltale sign of this game, in my opinion. If the Chargers let them come out hot and do whatever they want to do, could be a really, really long flight back to LA. But if they're able to weather the storm, make some plays, make New England get nervous as well, because remember, a lot of first-time playoff games, especially for Drake May. So I think if I'm the Chargers, the first quarter is the key. We can't let these guys get on top of us and that crowd. We just kind of lose our momentum.
Yeah, the Chargers definitely have their flaws, and I think they're going to be exposed against New England because, well, first I'm going to ask, do you guys think New England has had a, quote, easier schedule to get them to this point? I'll go with Thomas.
I've hated this argument since the beginning of time. Do you hear any team sitting up there saying we pick the teams that we play? This is not college football. We play who is on their schedule. I'm sorry that week in and week out we had to play the Cleveland Browns and the Tennessee Titans. That's not our fault. They need to be better, not us. So I hate. It's like a pet peeve of mine when it comes to sports in general. Oh, they got such an easy schedule. It's like, okay, they still got to play the games. How many times have you seen the NFL in this season alone where there was a team that was much better than the other, and then for whatever reason, they lose? How many times have you seen it? So it's like this idea that like, oh, well, we can't take them serious because of who they played. I guess. But last time I checked, you had to play the game and you actually had to win it in order for that to mean anything. And that's all New England's doing. That's all it is. And people just don't like it. They can't control the schedule. Nobody controls the schedule. That's all that is. They just play who they play.
I agree. All right, before we close up the show, I wanted to ask you guys to rank these teams. You know, whatever your 1 through 8 are. All right, 14 are. So I'm gonna go. I'll give you guys a second to think. And it can go, you know, NFC, AFC, whatever. But I'm just curious to hear how you're picking, because I'm sure that's how we're all projecting the playoffs to kind of look. So let's go with Jeff first.
All the teams or just wild card?
All of them.
Got it.
All of them.
Sorry for not paying attention.
No, you're good.
Well, number one, I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit. The Seattle Seahawks are playing the best football in the NFL right now, so they have to be number one for me. It gets a little murky after that. Right now, if I'm going to look at number 2, I'm going to look at number 2 being most likely the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots, another team that's played pretty good football, had that really tough loss to the Bills. But other than that, they've been solid. I think they're one of the hotter teams right now. The Denver Broncos, another one of those teams that's gone out there in the last few weeks, been pretty hot. They're playing some really good football. Had some struggles in little spurts during the season, but for the most part, very good all year long. And when you look at the rest of those, keep putting back up. I just want to make sure I want to see all the logos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we talk about number 4 for me on this list. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right, they're playing very good football. Defensively, they're playing better. Offensively, Trevor Lawrence is not making a lot of those mistakes that he's made the last 2 years. So that's allowing him to go out there and play good football. And they have one of my favorite backs, Travis Etienne, guy that I love coming out of Georgia. So he's one of those guys. I mean, it's Clemson. Sorry, they beat me up for saying that. Coming out of Clemson, but one of those guys that he gives you both the catching and running ability that McCaffrey gives you. He gives you a lot of that. So he's definitely one of the reasons why I put Jacksonville up there. The Houston Texans are not my number 5 team, but they're very close to being there. Give me the Chicago Bears at this point. Chicago Bears right now, once again, without that slow start, otherwise they're a very good football team. If they were able to flip the script and start hot early and push their way through a game, they're going to be hard to stop in the playoffs. After that, give me those guys in the Rams. Okay, another team that, once again, with the injuries, kind of slowed down a little bit late in the year, kind of took away their chance at the West. But right now, they're a tough out. They're going to be really tough for the Carolina Panthers on the road. Then you're going to have to give me the Houston Texans. Another one of those teams who's been playing well. If they didn't get so far behind Jacksonville, had a chance to take the South away from them. Unfortunately, that slow start early in the season kind of put them behind the 8 ball. After that, I'm going to go with Buffalo, a team that can get hot at any moment. So they're one of those teams when you look at in this playoffs, they're very hot. They're a team that can get hot. They have the quarterback. They have the running game. The defense is up and down because of the injuries. I think right now, if they can just get right for the playoffs, they'll be a tough out as well. The Green Bay Packers, despite the fact they've lost Micah Parsons, they right now have the ability, if Jordan Love gets on a roll, to get moving. Green Bay is another tough one. I believe that's 8, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles, as much as it pains me to say that name, but yes, the Philadelphia Eagles, yes, they're defending champs for a reason. Did they get the easy way in with the Cowboys falling flat at the end of the season, trying to chase them down for the division? Yes, but you know what? They're here. And Dallas isn't, and like the rest of the NFC East isn't. So they're going to come into this playoffs looking to defend. I still think that they have a lot of issues on offense they got to figure out. Force feeding
AJ Brown.
Thank you. Force feeding Brown wasn't the answer for that offense. To me, they have to get that running game fully operational for it to really ramp up this offense. Force feeding the receiver didn't exactly fix things. It just was a nice Band-Aid at the end of the season. All right. After that, I want to say the Fighting Harbaughs. I have a little more faith in them than the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are above San Diego right now. Their problem is they're struggling to protect Herbert, which is why he's beat up. And then they're also, their defense is starting to give up big plays, something they didn't do a lot last year. The Carolina Panthers are going to be the bottom of my 14 left because of their inconsistency. I just think that playoff time, they're not a good fit to move on. Did I say San Francisco already?
No.
Yeah, San Francisco, there it is. All right. San Francisco is another one that has the ability to run the table. I think, though, they're limited. It's a really good defense. They're going to be limited on offense. If McCaffrey isn't making the plays, they're going to be a lot of field goals, very little touchdowns. It's a bad recipe for the playoffs, especially the way their defense is played the second half of the season with all the injuries on defense. Then rounding out the bottom two, like I said, Pittsburgh, and of course Carolina.
All right. We'll go with Joe next.
All right. I would
Take
like
your time.
So I go from the bottom. So my worst team was the Panthers.
Okay.
Just like I said, first time in the playoffs. So happy to be here. Oh, look at this cool T-shirt we get for showing up. Commemorative cup for the fans. Hope you enjoy the game. After that, I go Packers. Inconsistent. I just don't know what Jordan Love we're going to get. I mean, I remember the Jordan Love that went into Dallas and won a playoff game, and then went to San Francisco and had a hell of a duel. I haven't seen that at all this season. Maybe I just missed that game. After the Packers, I go 49ers. I just wonder if the injuries are going to catch up to them finally. Then I go Steelers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers got a rabbit foot in every pocket he has, but how many more rabbit foots can you pull out? And like I said, that Texans defense is just ferocious. After the Steelers, I'm going to go Chargers. Then I go Patriots. I just feel like being the first time in the playoffs, how are they going to handle that? I know that Mike Vrabel has a ton of experience, having played in a ton of Super Bowls for the Patriots, but he's not going to be on the field. It's going to be the players. So I wonder if that's going to work out. After that, I go Buffalo Bills. I think that Josh Allen, and like I said, who's the receiving threat that makes you have to stay up at night when it comes to Buffalo? I mean, we know that James Cook is a beast, but you're going to need a lot more than just James Cook to make it to the Super Bowl. Then I go Bears. I mean, Ben Johnson, just incredible. The season he's had, Caleb Williams. But again, I'm real big on experience. First time for a lot of these guys. We're at home. We're really hype. Does that result in mistakes? We'll have to see. Then I go Texans. I'm high on this defense. I think their defense can carry them. If CJ Stroud can get 17 to 20 points against a lot of teams in the NFL, it's a wrap with the way that this defense plays. After the Texans, I got to go with the defending champs, the Eagles. I think that until you knock them off the top of the throne, you got to have them at least in their top 4. Another team that I'm really high on, maybe too high on, is Jacksonville. I just think what Leon Coleman's doing down there is fun, man. They're not just there for the vibes; they're there to win football. Trevor Lawrence looks like the generational talent they told us he was going to be when he was at Clemson. We're starting to see that now. After that, I go Denver. I just think that Bo Nix is playing way beyond his years. And again, another team that has a defense. They don't have to go anywhere. All the games are here. And as a guy who lives in Colorado, that's all everybody's talking about is Broncos home field advantage in playoffs. So I think that has a great team, a chance to make a run. But again, Bo Nix, your first time in the playoffs. Can you handle all the pressure and the big spotlight? This ain't Oregon versus Washington State. This is the NFL playoffs. So I have to see how he performs. Number 2, I got the Rams. Been high on them all year. Been with Ashmere, same way. Super Bowl bound. And that leaves the Seattle Seahawks for me as the number 1 team. I just think that these guys don't know any better. They're just going out there and playing football. I mean, yeah, they're young and they're second-year, third-year players, and they should be able to do this. They're figuring it out. Mike McDonald had a great defense in Baltimore. You're seeing it happen in Seattle. So those are my rankings. And again, pray for Aaron Rodgers, his safety.
If you're praying for his ruination, they gave you the right matchup.
No, for real. Yeah. And to do that at home on top of that, yikes.
All right, Thomas, you're up.
Okay. Can I see the teams one more time? I feel like I know I'm the youngest. I know I'm young and all, but I feel like I didn't concussion brain here. Here we
Can't
go.
read.
Yeah. I don't know. Carolina, sayonara, see you later. It was fun. Cam Newton's probably chanting from the rooftops. Awesome, good story. Get out. Go Carolina, and then after that, Pittsburgh. I'm just not a fan of. I think they are the Pittsburgh retirement home. I've made that joke throughout the entire season. Just a bunch of Aaron Rodgers and people that should be in retirement homes. They're going out there to play for the whole world to see get killed. I don't think that's fair to them. But they need to get out. After that, I'm going to go with the Chargers. Too inconsistent. I don't know what's going on with their defense. This was the same defense that terrorized my team so bad that they made them turn over twice in one play. So there's that. They got to go. Then from there, it gets really tricky. The Josh Allens, I don't trust him. I really don't. I know I'm supposed to because Josh Allen's so great, but everything else around him, not named James Cook, has question marks. That offensive line is a question mark. Not many people are talking about that enough. That offensive line is very shaky. Don't trust them. Then from there, I'm going to go to Green Bay. Green Bay, Jordan Love. God bless your soul, man. Let's hope he plays well, but in case he doesn't, there's that. Then after that, I'm gonna have to go with. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm not a huge fan of Denver like most people are. I feel like they're just like an accident waiting to happen. I really do. We haven't seen it yet, and that's fine. But I just feel like, especially given the matchup, it could be a disaster. Bo Nix actually being in a playoff game. They were in the playoffs last year, but they had to play Buffalo. He has to play actual football now. So I'm not too confident in that. After that, I'm going to go with the 49ers, which is the Christian McCaffreys. Let's hope that their offense could play well, and let's not rely too much on the defense. If they have to do one or the other, it's not guaranteed for them to go very far in the playoffs. I love Houston. Their defense is just elite. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They're just elite. They're a lot of fun seeing that defense run around. And then I'm gonna go with Chicago. The cardiac Bears. It sounds fun. It seems cool. Playoff atmosphere. You need to start strong. You need to establish who you are going into the playoffs moving forward. I have not seen that out of Chicago throughout the season. So I'm gonna put them there. Then there is Jacksonville. Their defense is just nice. They actually have a Trevor Lawrence that's playing like he just got fresh out of Clemson, so that's awesome. And ETN running the football has paid dividends for them. Then I'm gonna go with Philly. Look, their offense sucks. It sucks. The offensive coordinator is trash. Don't get me started on that. But the pushback I always give is not only that they're defending Super Bowl champs, they are one game away from like just sitting up there and saying, you know what? Yeah, we can run the ball with Saquon. Yeah, we can throw the ball to AJ. Yeah, we can throw it to Dallas Goedert. Yeah, we can throw it to Devontae. And actually piece it all together with the defense that they have week in and week out. So I'll put them there. Then there is the Rams. They've been teetering towards the end of the year. I don't know if that's a tail sign on how their postseason is going to be, but the way that their rest of the season has been for them has not been the greatest. So I have to take that into consideration. That leaves me with New England and Seattle, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. The Fighting Vrabels. Yeah, you're going to take a backseat to Seattle because, look, Seattle actually, I don't know if we can put them in the same category as Legion of Boom. Don't nobody want to put them in that type of class, but they fly around and they hit hard and they make sure that you feel it the following day. It is not fun playing the Seattle Seahawks. And I think that's why Shanahan was saying, if we can beat them, we can go to the Super Bowl. Because they are just that physical. And you mess that with what Sam Darnold and that offense is doing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. And oh my God, if Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker II can run the ball the way that they have been the past couple of weeks, look out. So that alone is a recipe for success. You win the time of possession. You have the big plays. You have the defense to get big stops. You have all that on full display. I put Seattle number 1 as well.
Okay, I'm going to shock you guys. Are you ready? I'm putting the Jags at number 1.
What?
I agree with you. I know, it's crazy. I told you I was going to shock you all. I think Trevor Lawrence has heard – I don't know why I keep doing that. Hold on. Trevor Lawrence has been scrutinized for so many years that I know it's crazy. It's crazy. The way that both sides of the ball are clicking together are literally the reason I put them at number 1. Trevor Lawrence is going for touchdowns. He's just so much more agile. His offense looks sticky and fun, and the defense is doing everything they need to do to stop. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I don't know how to turn it off. Anyways.
It's not meant to be, Ashmere. It's not meant to be. That's what it is. It's not meant to be on the screen. It's not meant to be on the screen.
Jags number 1. I think the Jaguars defense and the Seahawks defense, like what we see this week, could change my rankings, but I really think that those are the 2 defenses we're going to keep our eye on very high for this weekend. So this is I don't know how to stop this, but I'm not an expert on the banners. They added like a timer.
It's okay. It wasn't meant to be, Ashmere. There was a typo in there, something in the coding behind the scenes. It wasn't meant to be. I'm trying to tell you.
No.
Wow. The Panthers not even last. Interesting.
You saved the Seahawks from the unanimous bias. From the coach, I should say.
You're welcome.
That's fair.
If you're a Seattle fan and you stuck around this whole time, you're welcome, because somebody had to throw a wrench in that idea. I watched that Niner game. I know what they're capable of doing, but I really think Jaguars are going to eliminate Buffalo, and that's going to rank this so differently for what we see after the wild card weekend. But we have been yapping for an hour and a half, so I want to thank everybody for being here, everybody who's tuned in. This was fun, exciting. We love to talk football, obviously. And I will see you guys again soon. We're going to log off. Thank you, everyone. And we're going to post our picks so that you can see them before the wild card weekend. All right? Everyone, have a great day. Have a great evening. It's nighttime in the East Coast. Thank you. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow Team NBS Media on all social platforms. Don't forget. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great week. Happy New Year.